So first, I'll introduce Peden with ADP. Mac has had a distinguished career with ADP in both sales and operations since joining ADP as a district manager in 1975. In July of 2011, Mac joined the corporate finance leadership. Mac works with ADP's corporate finance, corporate real estate, IT, and HR teams to identify the best use of workspace for associates throughout ADP, as he concurrently leads the corporate real estate function. Prior to his current role, Mac served as Senior Vice President of National Account Services Field Services. Prior to joining NAS in 2002, Mac spent 27 ADP years in senior operational management, sales, and sales management roles in various other ADP units. Mac is a Georgia native living in the Atlanta area his entire career. He is a graduate of Georgia Tech and a U.S. Army veteran. All right, and we'll let Matt get started and share information from his program. Thank you. Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Pleased to be with you today. She's had about a long time. I think it's time to stop. I'm actually retiring next month. So I was thinking the other day, since I'll be retiring, I have the new center of my world is my granddaughter, who's 3 years old, and my son and his wife and granddaughter live in Chandler Park. And I'm sure you've all heard the news flash early in the morning where it's going to be a bad day. Old people, little children should not be out in the afternoon. But it's me and my granddaughter. So I think it's time to clean up the air in Atlanta so that we can go out anytime and enjoy our beautiful city and all the great things that are going on. And for the last 35 years, I thought that the most important thing in the world was getting a paycheck. Everybody has to be paid, so that must be what everybody should be focused on. And then I realized, well, if you don't have good air, you check that you can do it. So actually, I'm looking more important than helping clean up our air. ADP has had another comment before I get this. As Aaron said, I've spent most of my career, 95% in leading sales and operations in Atlanta. And the last year I've been temporarily filling in to find a permanent place for our corporate real estate fund. So I've really focused on real estate the last year, but part of our real estate function, part of what we're doing is maybe what you've seen in your companies is, kind of getting a little fuzzy as to what real estate is when a lot of people are not in a building. Who's responsible for all these people that are working at home and the equipment and all that stuff? But we've had a concentrated effort at ADP to, we call it Homeshoring. So you've seen some of the presentation, we call it Homeshoring. But so not only in Atlanta have I been focused on clean air and teleworking, I was got involved, in the early 90s in some of the first 20 new days and things that we had in June 4%. So now on a national basis, we're looking at how to get more and more people to do home tour and teleworking here. In fact, it probably is happening in your companies. We actually started, what teleworking was in the late 80s when we had key associates that said, I'm moving to Florida, I'm moving to Minneapolis. Oh no, we can't leave, I need you. So, could you still work? And the early days, they actually moved to Minneapolis or to California, and they would drive to the nearest office and log into the system because there was no internet, there was no other way to get in. But that was kind of our first telework. And then as technology improved, they obviously could be home and work at home. So that's what got us started. We wanted to retain up to people. That's what telework was. Today in Atlanta, we have, I got the active 637, I think, associates that telework. And when we say telework, we mean basically every day. So part of our teleworking initiative is across the country is also real estate. We think we can reduce our real estate footprint probably 20 to 30% over the coming years by having people work at home. And at ADP, that's $60 million. So people get excited about that kind of annual savings. And this public sector advance rate, I spend everybody with profit. So you motive is profit first, and we all like to think we're, all great corporate citizens, but at the end of the day, at least in my company, it's always been, stockholder with food. But this is one of the greatest programs that, almost program I know, where everybody wins, right? You save your 40s, no, you're going to get better money for education. So the objectives of Homeshoring ADP, and Ellen said it, very well. I told her she left. She hit all the things to do. So what she said, everything she said applies to ADP. We've had the same questions, we've had the same surveys, and we've had the same results. But the flexible work arrangements, you ask most people, would you rather have more money or more time? A lot of people want more time. Everybody likes more money, but when it really comes down to it, I want more flexible time, more time with my family, I want flexibility. And the teleworking gives that to you. I read a statistic not long ago that when you work in an office environment, at 38 hours a week, you start running into the family work-life balance after you work 38 hours. If you work at home, the number is 57 hours. If you think about that, it makes sense, because at home, you can leave in the middle of the day if you have to, right? You can meet the air conditioner repairman and still do the work while he's downstairs fixing the air conditioner. All those things, makes you so much more flexible. I've been a teleworker for the last probably 7 or 8 years, and I don't have to today, but I do it because it's just convenient and productive. I started because 400, you might think 400 northbound, which is where I went every day, before they increased the lanes, used to back up almost as bad as 400 south. So I'd sit there for 45 minutes trying to go 15 miles up 400. So I sat at home for 3 hours of work and then went to work in 15 minutes. And again, if you do any telework and they're working at home, it's just, you know what the productivity is. Retain and attract talent. Our teleworking homeshored associates retention is better than the general population. And people like to work for a company where they have an option for flexibility. And as I mentioned earlier, optimize ADP facilities. If our people work at home all the time, they don't need people, they don't need space. If 20 people working at home all the time, you look at them to do it. The social benefits are, again, we talked about it pretty obvious: flexibility, work life, reduce commute time, expenses, increase ability to focus and concentration. And then to benefits to ADP, obviously we got more engaged, more productive people. One of the things that the biggest pushbacks, or one of the biggest pushbacks we get from your organization, your managers, is that productivity. Right? I can't see them on the work. So one of the key things to being successful is you've got to have a way, obviously, to measure that productivity. In the call center environment, even when people are home, just like they're in the center, you measure the calls, you measure all the ATV, the weather, all those kind of things in the call centers. If they're in, there's got to be a way to measure productivity. So I would say it's strong, figure out how to do that. Again, we keep good people, we keep them a long time. Nobody ever leaves. If you're home and you go look for another job and they say, well, you got to come to the office and work for this company. I don't want to do that. I'm working at home. I want to stay at home. So you just have a much better. And as I said, optimize all this. And the environment, which is one of the main reasons we're here. But miles driven, less traffic congestion, more green space. I did the math on this the other day. 500 telework facilities will create those 500 people not working, we have 2 acre parks. So we take on that much of our business. And our teleworkers say, 2,500 tons of pollutants every year by not working. And finally, best practices. You got to develop standards. You can't just say we're going to have a telework. That's the biggest, one of the biggest things. Why can you go and you can't? You got to have those standards about who can and who can't. Develop engineers training, management training, which Clean Air offers, so you know how to manage the process, evaluate your stuff, some people are good fit, know how you measure productivity, and one of the things that, and we've run into that some too, you're out of sight, out of mind. If they don't ever see me, they'll ever get promoted, they'll forget who I am. We have a ratio of, and it varies, but generally it's 4 to 1. For every 4 people that go home, we keep we call it a bench or hoteling queue in an office so they can come back in, whenever they need to. Whether it's once a week, once a month, once a quarter, but you do want your people to come back in from time to time because they will get lose touch with the corporate, culture and the people. So you want to come back. So. Thank you.
Thank you.